Hey, good evening, y'all. Welcome to another edition of our roundtable discussion on fieldwork. Tonight, we are being joined by the usual gang, myself, Jerimiah Fountain. We've got Mr. J.R. Kitchen. How are you today, sir?
I'm awfully well, good buddy. How are you?
I'm actually spectacular. I'm very excited about some things that are about to happen in the near future that the three of you are going to be involved in, actually. We've talked a little bit about it, but we'll get more into that later on a more private basis. But anyway, we've got, it's pretty warm here today on my end of the Carolinas. How about you? You still getting the rain and stuff?
No, it's cleared off. It was a pretty nice day, man. It's just kind of hot, like 55 degrees. That's kind of hot on me.
Yeah, I got you.
Right now.
It
hit 70 here, friggin' 70 degrees here yesterday. That was.
Oh my God, what the world coming to, man? I don't think I can handle that.
I hear you. But yeah, Mom was saying up north in the Adirondacks they're covered in ice right now. So
really?
they're getting hit bad with a lot of. Shawn, you were saying the same thing. And
oh yeah, man, it's terrible. Look here. All that out there, that ain't snow. That's ice, man. That is.
Yep, that's Shawn Wilson from Nebraska, as you see. They're getting hit with it too. How you doing tonight, Shawn? You doing all right, Shawn?
Oh man, it's been a day, but I'll talk to you about that off the air. I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay, good. And there you go. Good. I'm glad you're getting something into your system, JR. Good. And last but certainly not least, we've he refuses to show his face. It's the mysterious John Schweitzer. How are you tonight, sir?
That's right. I'm going to put a paper bag over my face when I get that camera.
I thought you were about to go into something else when you mentioned a paper bag, but I won't go there.
Oh, yeah. You mean, well, I've heard that. I heard you. Yeah.
Yeah. That might have been a little too much, but anyway.
Yeah.
With that being said.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome everybody. Like I said, this is our roundtable discussion for our group on the trail. We're all, JRG representatives as well. John and Shawn being in the Midwest and JR and myself in the Southeast. But anyway, what we want to get into tonight is, there's a lot of, lately especially, it seems like, with this whole the whole tree structure, stick figure, stick structure, however the hell you want to put it these days. Most of the stuff we see out there, let's face it, 99% of it you can explain. And I think people are a little too quick to jump to the, hey, look what the Sasquatches did. So with that being said, John, you wanna lead this one off?
Yeah.
I don't want to really mention specific names. I'm not here to bash anybody, and none of us are. But I just want to get into the topic a little bit, and trying to educate everybody on how most of this stuff can be explained.
2 words. I can sum it up in 2 words. Gravity. Mm-hmm. Gravity sucks.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. No,
as well as weather.
Yeah. Yeah. As well as weather. Absolutely. Jeremiah, you've been around trees pretty much. That's a family business, wasn't it? Or something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
I've seen, I've been, it has been a natural thing for me from like 4, 5, 6 years old, to be around the woods, to be around trees and so forth. But I got to agree with you, man. 90% of it, unless you've got a footprint underneath it, and I mean a bona fide footprint.
Yeah.
You can't, all you got is squatch. You don't have anything,
Yeah.
You ain't got it.
Right. I agree. And like you said, unless there's evidence, forensic evidence, as far as I'm concerned, to go with that, you really have nothing. Whether you have that 6th sense telling you, hey, this was done by a Sasquatch, unless there's something there with it, man, I truly, I won't come out and say that that's proof. You know, I don't know. What do you guys think on that one, JR? What about yourself?
As far as
I mean, don't get me wrong. There is that percentage of stuff that we have, all four of us here, have seen and dealt with that.
Yeah, we can't explain.
We can't explain. You know,
it's out of the box.
That's right. But as far as like some of the latest stuff online that we're seeing, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, can easily be explained. I don't know. Go ahead, JR. I didn't mean to cut you off like that. But.
No, it's okay, man. You know, like most of the folks just getting into it, I think they're mistaken, you know, quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I think that they talk just a little bit too fast. They get into it just a little bit too much. Everybody's a little bit too much of an expert. Things kind of evolve and everything else, and it's, you know, it becomes easy to them, you know, as a lot of things get. And what's normal, like wind damage or ice storm damage or things like that, or just for the hell of, you know, for a stick laying in the road, or a stick laying 37.5 degrees to the northeast, you know, is a Sasquatch.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
It's always, oh, you know, a Sasquatch did that, or there's a rock laying on the white line in the road, you know, so that's a Sasquatch.
I do that.
Right.
Yeah, things like that is you know, it's just way too common. There's some really good examples out there, and for example, Will's books.
Yes.
You don't have to go too far to find some really good examples of some good, you know, sign anyway. Stick break, you know, like rock leans for that matter, prints, whatever, you know, it is. I think folks are way too quick to kind of put a label on it as far as Sasquatch. You know, oh my God, that is a Sasquatch. Oh my God, you know, like you know, my dog cocked its leg on a tree the other day and then took off running down the road. Man, it's got to be a Sasquatch, you know.
Yeah.
But
Sasquatch scared the dog away. Yep.
And that's the thing. And I think you really summed it up. You summed it up pretty good, right?
But it does kind of get a little ridiculous, and it's really hard not to comment and be like, you guys don't
kidding me. Yeah.
Like, you guys don't know dick, you know, like it's just, but just be nice to the folks, you know, maybe you can help them out.
And that's why we're here, you know.
Kind of my advice.
Amen. Yeah.
You know, that's why we're here, is to educate, and I just don't, you know, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea of why we're doing this. I mean, the four of us tend to get a little humorous, and that's just us. We're not here to bash anybody by any means. Yeah. We're here to educate.
We could be very dry and boring at times if we
could be. But, you know, we tend to try to make it fun, you know. But with that being said, JR, you know, you just summed it up pretty good. You know, with any of this stuff, not just the tree-related, stick-related type things, it's a lot of things. People are just too quick to label it something as a Sasquatch. Get it? You know what I'm saying? So, I agree. Yeah. But, you know, all four of us here have seen stuff that, you know, is that part of, is the end of it that can't be explained. You know, I've been on investigations, you know, one really good one in particular. I caught some really good stuff, and you've all seen the photos, but where they're, like John was saying, this stuff was popping up overnight, and we were finding footprints, you know, and drag marks or other types of evidence with these happenings.
Like a twisted stick.
Right.
I don't know if you could see it, but like I have no idea if that actually is a Sasquatch, because I'm just a little bit skeptical. I found, there it is. There it is on the better.
I can see it.
It was actually really close to the ground, but it was twisted.
Right.
I don't know.
As opposed to being, I hear what you're saying.
How much? I gotta ask you, JR. How much weight was on the end of that stick? I mean, did that stick continue out? Did it look like it had branches at some time, a heavy weight, like a canopy on it?
Actually, nothing. It ends about right there, right about at the end of the picture frame. It actually ended right there.
Okay.
And it was relatively, maybe the break itself was about maybe 1.5 feet off the ground. So I don't know, man. It looked pretty good to me, but
right.
Well, the only thing that I would have said was, I mean, because for hell's sake, it could have been a bear or step on it, or
Yeah.
it could have been a hog leaning up against it, scratching its ass for all I know, you know. But
Right.
it was twisted in a manner that you would think that something twisted it off, something needed opposable to actually grab it and twist the thing.
Yeah,
it's not.
Go ahead, John.
It's not. From what I'm seeing, it's not long enough to be reaching up to catch a full wind. You know, because
right.
if you've got limbs on something and the tree is weak at that point or at a certain point, and there are limbs on it, if it's high enough, the wind can catch that. It will pop it, and depending upon what kind of weight you've got on the canopy, if you got more weight on one side on the canopy where the limbs come up, it will rotate from that heavier spot, clockwise or counterclockwise. Maybe not a lot, but a little bit. Of course, then you get a little bit of twist, and somebody's all, "Oh my God!"
This was all right in the middle of the woods. This wasn't on any trail. This was out in the middle of the woods. Nobody goes there. I mean, maybe a few game trails. I saw some deer sign. Of course, I didn't see ranch because I think the ones around here are really wily. You know, like they're pretty sneaky. But I don't know. I mean, personally, I can't say what the hell it is, but it's twisted.
Yeah, it's twisted, not snapped.
Right.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. You can you can tell. There's a big difference, and that's an important thing to mention. There, the big difference between a snap and an actual twist. When they twist onto something. But Shawn, what are your thoughts?
Well, go ahead and finish what you were going to say, JR.
Oh, lastly, I'm sorry, man.
Sorry, buddy. I didn't mean.
It could have been like the grain of the wood that actually broke like that, but it kind of felt like it was twisted. Yeah. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, I hear you. I mean, I've seen it many times. Yeah, it definitely looks twisted for sure.
Excuse me just a moment.
Even with the fibers in the wood. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, good point. Shawn, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, when I see these things, I look at the source, I look at the person, I look at the evidence, and then I kind of, you got to judge by who's posting it and what they're posting and what they're showing us.
That's true too.
I'd say 2/3 of it is faked. I think a lot of people are looking for attention, and they go out and build these teepee structures, or they do these glyphs on the ground with sticks and stuff like that. And I think it's horse fucking.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that.
But then again, I have seen some stuff that I can't explain, and you've actually got all my photos. I've got trees upside down. I got root balls in the air leaning against trees. Now, so there's a lot of guys out there that do post some stuff that make me scratch my head thinking, it's not for sure. But in my area, I'm 99.99% sure that the stuff I have down there is because of them.
I've seen, I've seen your stuff. Your stuff looks a lot like that stuff that I've sent to you from the PA New York border. Okay, remember?
Right. I've got big twist breaks, 9-10 feet up in the air. I've got leaners all over the place. I got trees flipped upside down. I've got tees everywhere. They'll take a log off the ground, not a branch, but like a legitimate log, and they'll jam it up in the crook of another tree. And you can look around and see that this did not fall. This was something that was cut and pushed into the field. And they'll jam it up in a tree 12 feet in the air to make a tee. And it's all over the place, man. It's insane. But then again, I tried to show some people, some friends of mine. One of my buddies said, well, the farmer must have thought that would be good post material, and he put it up there so it wouldn't rot. I'm like, how the hell did you do it? A 10-foot step ladder? What are you talking about?
That sounds like some Midwestern mentality right there. I think I've
Yeah, and this guy's actually a pretty open-minded guy, and he's a friend of mine. He just can't wrap his head around Sasquatch for some reason.
Yeah,
one of these days we're going to be able to put it in his face and everybody else's face.
Can't blame him for that, man.
So.
I can't convince anybody of Sasquatch, but what I can do is help them.
Right, exactly. Open your mind up a little.
May I interject? I also heard one time Will state that before you take a good look at pictures or photographs or any evidence anybody else has, he said, always research the researcher first.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That was my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
You got the whole picture, the whole big picture. You got to look at the whole thing. You know, researcher, like you said, Jay, the researcher and all. Right back to the original
social media. It's super easy to do these days. You can dig back in their Instagrams and their Facebook accounts and
absolutely
all their other stuff, and you can look at. You can tell if they're somebody looking for attention or if they're somebody that's genuinely.
Like, you know, like if they're like riding a chopper in their profile pictures or any of that mess or anything like that, you
know. Like, hey, Shawn, I heard you mention a T.
Oh yeah, T's all over the place.
I don't know if you can. Guys, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Like
you showed me that before, man. I've got those all over the place.
Now that's interesting. Okay, if you see, that was actually that popped up overnight on top of everything else. It popped up overnight. Okay, so that top part, that horizontal log, tree part, whatever you want to call it, is actually jammed onto the end of that other one. So something, whether it was a Sasquatch or a person, whatever, something friggin' placed it there. And that's all there is to it. You know, I know weather can do some weird things, but as far as something like that right there, I don't really see the wind doing something that perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Was that? I got to ask a question here real fast. Now, was that supported at one end, or was that supported in the middle?
From right in the middle.
Jammed. Okay.
Jammed right in the middle. Yep. Yeah. It was nothing on either end supported, just jammed right in the middle. Perfect T.
I'm guessing that now I'm guessing, all right, because I wasn't there, but I'm guessing that log making the top of the T was rather soft. Like it might be in part rotted. And if it was, that means it was laying on the ground at one time.
It most of the stuff in this gallery, in this particular set of photos I have, some of it is partially rotted, some of it, the leans you were talking about, Shawn, the ones on this particular investigation I was on, it's bizarre because, like we were saying earlier, without prints, it's tough to, you don't really have jack. But being woodsmen that we are, you can tell if something was brought from somewhere else. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And too big to the point where a human being couldn't carry it. You know what I mean? So
the area that I'm talking about, where all my T's and my leans are, the farmers at some point had cut down a whole lot of the trees on the edge and pushed them in to make more room.
Okay.
Most of the stuff had been cut and it was laying on the ground and pushed in. Well, something picked it up and put it in the crook of these trees. Now, another thing, to get down to these trees during harvest, well, while crops are growing anyway, you can't. I mean, you'd have to go. It's impossible. You can't even see these trees from the road.
Right.
Anyway, it's not. Nobody goes in there except for me and the farmer who drives through there, you know, when he's working it, but he's not out there that often.
Right.
And other than that, there's a creek that runs right through it that's about 15 feet deep. Well, the creek's not that deep, but the gully down to the creek, there's a 15-foot drop down to the edge of the creek. Okay. And that's how I believe they travel anyway. But man,
makes sense.
Stuff left and right. I would love to have somebody come out there with me.
Oh, I'd love to make it out that way. For sure.
If you ever do,
I will eventually. Awesome. Well, I mean, with this particular thing that's cooking up, I will end up out there at some point, and we'll all end up together at some point. Trust me on that.
I can't wait.
I won't go there right now, but anyway, there's something else. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anything like. I got a picture of it, and I wish I could share it today. I'm still trying to work this whole thing out where I can share pictures on this, but where they'll take branches, okay, say 3-4 inches in diameter, okay, off on a particular tree, and they'll take them and they'll intertwine them into a knot. Now, let me see if I can at least show you
Now, that would be in the same area of the Bigfoot that braid horses' manes, right?
Well, yes, that's what you said to me the other night.
Right.
Don't even get me started. Don't get me started on that one.
Wanted to get the location right. That's all.
Yeah. Don't get me going on that one. I was thinking about that the other night, man. Oh boy, I laughed. But anyway, maybe I'm going to post that old video later. Thanks, John. You're gonna get me in trouble. Anyway, you guys see this? This is what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
See how it's kind of tied in a knot?
Yep.
I mean that to me that is bizarre.
Yeah.
And like I said, on this particular investigation, we were finding tracks with prints with this stuff that went along with these particular structures. And this is the same one where they were jamming the toys into those little hut teepee things. They were taking this little boy's toys and sticking them in the middle. And like I said, the stuff was popping up overnight. Tracks being found. So with that being said, in that kind of a situation, okay, that's something to work with, But like, John, like we were saying earlier, I mean, especially with the stuff that's first of all, light enough for a human to do, okay? For instance, let's say something like a palm leaf tree,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So stuff like that, man. Something that a human is capable of doing, it just, without proper forensic evidence, to me,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm going to discredit it automatically, but I'm not going to take it as gospel. If that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, natural rubbish, natural trash that is laying around for natural reasons does not constitute a Bigfoot.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's kind of the whole point of this conversation tonight was that, like Jay said, people are just very quick to jump to that
Way
conclusion.
Too quick. There's something that I'm reminded of. And now I'm not trying to get off on something here.
No, go ahead.
Okay, but like with tracking.
Yeah.
All right. Look, it must be a Bigfoot. It's got to be a Bigfoot imprint. Look at that.
Mm.
If these people that are so quick, now there are people that can track. All right, and there are people taking casts, and
yes.
Those casts end up being studied. They don't end up being shoved right in front of everybody's face on YouTube.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see. I don't know. The only way I can describe this is that I would like to be able to feel confident that whoever comes up and says this is a Bigfoot track is actually able to, let's say, tracking 101. Tell me the difference between a dog, a coyote, and a wolf track, or tell me the difference between a male or female deer, how fast they were, if they were running, if they were walking, how many of them were there, and were there any young ones there, and which direction they were going.
Right. So
now
Richard, if you can't explain that, then I see what you're saying. You're right.
Don't show me a Bigfoot track. But how you going to know who is and who isn't? Well, you know as well as I do, when you see so many of these tracks, and it must be a Bigfoot. Look, it's 3 inches deep. Okay, I don't know. It gets frustrating. But it's tracks under these, tracks under these doggone structures means something.
Yes. That I agree with. Like I think we're all in agreement on that. If there's tracks there, you got something.
Here's something we were talking about the other night.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody? How much does an average? Is it now? If Bigfoot is for real, okay. Nope. I always say that. You guys are going to get used to that.
No, okay. we are.
All right. An average weight. What would an average weight of a Bigfoot be?
In my opinion.
Yeah. Anybody's. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. And I've said this a dozen times, and I'm going to say it again. However, I believe that we underestimate the weight of these things. I truly do. Because perfect example being, okay, let's the guy Robert Wadlow, that was one of the tallest men that ever lived. He's in the Guinness Book. He was 8'11". All right. and weighed 550 pounds.
All right.
So let's picture an 8'11" male Sasquatch. See what I'm getting at?
Yeah. Okay. There's a reason I ask this. Okay. All right. Let's top him off at 1,000 pounds. Okay.
Agreed.
Just for grins and giggles. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, oh my God, a Sasquatch made this structure. Look at these freaking logs that they use to make this teepee structure. They're 10 inches in diameter. They're 30 feet long. Only a Sasquatch could pick that. All right. How much does that log weigh?
Right.
Now, if that log weighs 400 pounds, then you've just made that relic hominid weigh 1,400 pounds. And they're building these. They're building these, and there are no footprints. You get what I'm going with?
I do.
He weighs 400 pounds more. That's 200 pounds per foot. I don't mean at 12 inches. I mean where he's standing. Each foot's going to be about 200 pounds more of support. So something tells me there's going to be prints, if it's for real.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, you would think. You would think so. I mean, like we said, most of the time, and you know, especially like you're saying, John, especially carrying on top the weight of the creature itself on top of the weight of that log or tree. You would think there would be some sort of, if not a full track, at least some sort of damn impression. You know what I mean?
You ever see anybody put a teepee up?
You mean like a survival? Survival?
Well, no, like a powwow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much walking and how many times do they move their feet and walking around that teepee while they're putting it up?
Absolutely.
Now, that's a human being. How how much walking do you think a Sasquatch would be doing? Yeah.
And I definitely see it, and I'm in agreement. I definitely agree. I mean, to put these. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man.
No, yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah.
No, you did. Go ahead. Go on.
Anyway,
you're good.
Like Sasquatches don't wear boots. Like they're not going to have sharp edges to dig into the ground. We know for a fact that they have a lot bigger feet, hence the term big feet. So maybe the weight disperse combined with the ground. That's why you can't see a lot of them. I don't know.
Good thought.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, it is a good point. Different factors.
It really depends on the substrate for sure. If the substrate's a hard packed, area, then no, you're not going to see any prints. But if you've got soft, sandy, or wet material, it depends on the substrate. It really does.
It does. It depends on some types of you've got types of ground that are more conducive for tracks than others.
Well, at least you have the possibility of many tracks, is I guess what I should have been going.
No, I definitely get what you're saying, for sure. But yeah, I mean, to sum it all up, as far as that part of our little discussion goes, I mean, I think we're all in pretty much agreement that most of it can be explained, especially John. It was Shawn or JR when you mentioned it. Especially if it's light enough for a human to carry, why would if an animal that 1,000-pound primate, relic hominid, however we want to refer to these things as, you'd think they'd mess with something a little bit bigger. You know what I mean? So a lot of this new stuff we're seeing with these small sticks and stuff, I don't buy it. There's other ways to explain it, and then weather does a lot of weird things too, and there's conditions. John, you and I talked about that the other day. Trees will grow a certain way.
Yeah.
They
twist.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just the way they grow, and then people see these and they refer, "Hey, geez, look at the way that thing's twisted," or a Sasquatch must have done it. But no, there's ways. And growing up on a tree farm, I've seen it many times. I mean, it's the way the tree grew from a sapling. It just ends up growing. And I don't mean I'm not referring to when I say twist what JR was showing us earlier. That's not what I mean. I mean when the actual tree itself grows in like a spiral pattern.
Spiral, yeah.
You hear it? You understand what I'm saying, JR?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean, right? I'm sure you've seen stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
You know, so trees will grow like that naturally. And you hear a lot of people will jump to the Sasquatch conclusion with those also, which it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Something could have broke it with a twisted grain, like for example the one that I showed earlier. Like it could have been a hog leaned up against it, scratching its ass, and it could have broke off with a
JR, that brings a good point, what you're saying there. I got to tell you a real fast story here. I was talking now down here in Hoosier National Forest, all right? I was talking to an old guy a few years ago about what's in the Hoosier National Forest. And he responded he says, you would not believe what comes out of the forest. And I was like, well, I'm thinking some mystical being or something like that, And he said, no, he says, people will come down in the area. They'll let off their dogs, cats. He said, ponies, cows, chickens, now you get a cow moving through a forest looking for whatever, or a pony. And I know that sounds crazy, but
no, it doesn't. But
mules, mules, all of that. They get off on their own. They'll live in the forest. You may run
they will.
Them,
they will.
They're wild, And
there's a way too, and I got to throw in also that, and which kind of what you just brought up, John, kind of remind me to mention this. That say you get some loose cattle, okay, you take a big bull. A lot of people don't realize the way they will actually, and same with moose. They'll put their antlers right inside the tree. They'll make twists like that. They can cause a branch to actually twist also.
Um,
they like to fight. They fight a tree. They do,
without a doubt. There's but track, and then therefore you got a cow track, which looks like Sasquatch knuckle prints, and then you've got a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
A whole shitload of Sasquatches.
Yeah.
On their knuckles, man.
All of them walking on their knuckles. Yeah.
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 No, good point, Jay. That was
That's
good.
Excellent. I love it, man.
I love it. But yeah, I mean, basically, to sum that part of our little discussion up, yeah, I think most of it can be explained, but we do. I'm glad we're all in agreement. That there is that percentage of stuff where you can't explain it, and especially if, like Shawn, you and I have talked about this. If you're used to working a specific area where you have had activity and had sightings, and you start seeing stuff like this, you got a pretty good idea what did it. So
yeah.
That's
especially this isn't like I'm not in national forest. I'm not anywhere where anyone else goes.
Right.
Nobody has any reason to go down to this farmland where I hunt at all. Period.
Right.
There's just not human activity. So
that's right.
That place is great. They have fresh deer and they have fresh grain and corn and everything else right there.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to leave. There's water, there's food, there's cover, there's, I would have never thought that they would be here. And I mean, I grew up in Colorado and I hunted the Rockies for most of my adult life, and I moved here and saw a damn Bigfoot.
Right.
Freaking crazy, but they're here.
They are. I mean, it's like you just said, Jay. I mean, if they've got the resources there, why go somewhere else to get them?
Yeah, man. If it works, keep doing it.
If it works, keep doing it. I mean, for crying out loud, if the resources are there, you may as well use them. I mean, it's same thing goes with the livestock. That's why a lot of these things will take farm animals. I mean, as a kid growing up on our property, we lost animals. We had a dog come up missing out of the blue at one point. I don't know for sure that a Sasquatch took it. I'm not saying that. But my point is that it was an active area. We had a lot of resources, like you said, Jay, food, grain, other types of livestock, on top of the wild game, the deer, But if they can grab something like a dog or a cat or chicken or whatever, as opposed to running down a deer, Why not do it? They're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's opportunistic. Let's face it. You know, I truly believe it anyway. They're just a very opportunistic animal, just like anything else. Yeah. I mean, let's face it. I mean,
I think it's the younger ones that do that crap, and I think it's the younger ones that people see more because they're not as experienced. I think the older ones are too smart. I think they stay away from people and livestock.
I'm in agreement
because they know that it's just too close to people. But the younger ones are kind of not stupid, but they're just more daring, I guess.
They're more ballsy.
Yeah.
They're ballsier. Juveniles are ballsier. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, you know, I feel confident saying that. But I agree. I think you're the ones that do that kind of stuff might be even though it's even an adolescent that hasn't reached full maturity. You know what I mean?
Right,
something they're going to do
like like a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Even a gorilla.
13-year-old with an attitude and all that testosterone going at one. You know, they're animals.
Little ballsier. You know.
Yeah, that's the ones that braid the horses' manes and stuff.
Without a doubt.
That'd be the girls going through their menstrual cycle the first time.
Yep.
You're on it. I completely hear what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it's true.
I can't remember if it was one of Goodall's, Jane Goodall's, something I saw while I was watching something about her. Anyway, it was a gorilla, or maybe it was a chimp. It's been years ago, but it was a mother. All right, and the young one did something. Anyway, this mother laid that young one out, slapped him for it, whatever it was. Now, if that's not human character, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You know, Mama says don't. You better not.
You better not.
Freaking simple, you know. So
that's interesting. I've never seen that before. But it makes sense.
I don't know. Yeah, I saw it. I couldn't tell you where you could see it, but I know.
I think you're thinking. I think that's one of Diane Fossey's.
That might be.
Or not Diane Fossey, but Jane Goodall. Yeah, Diane Fossey was the gorilla. The gorilla research. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
the one that was murdered by the poachers. If I do recall.
I thought it was more at the time. I wasn't so much in tune to Bigfoot, but it was funny to me to see that happen. You know,
right?
I thought, man, that's happened to me once or twice. You know?
Yeah.
Mama does it. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of reports actually where these juvenile Sasquatches have showed themselves to people and ventured extremely close to a person. Okay, and in the background you'll see Big Papa. He'll come up out of nowhere, or Mama, and they'll let off a scream or a beller, kind of saying, "What the hell are you thinking? Get your ass back here!" And they'll immediately retreat. I've heard a couple different cases like that, you know, and it's all like you were saying, like almost a disciplinary kind of thing, you know.
One of the I don't know, one of the podcasts on, you know, you and we've all listened to so many of them. But I remember one that I laughed so hard at that I hurt. And it had to do with the fella that saw the two Bigfoot. And he claimed them to be adolescent.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
One of them had a branch in its hand, like with leaves on it, and he was swinging it around. And like they were both just, you know, pumping up, you know, like rah, carrying on. And this one was swinging this branch around, and he smacked his brother in the face with it.
Yep.
Hard enough. The guy said it was like a cartoon where you can see the face through the branch.
That was on one of my shows.
Was it? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. That was a witness of mine. Yep.
I laughed so hard over that because, you know, typical.
Yep.
Typical human behavior as well.
It was two juveniles. Yeah. They he had encountered. I won't mention his name because it's not really important and it's not the way we do things. But to me, the guy is very credible. They had actually the whole to kind of wrap it up, he was dirt biking, and he'd gotten off his dirt bike, I think, to relieve himself, to be honest with you, and they kicked his dirt bike over. And if this is the same story, but I believe it is, one of them yanked a branch off a tree and started swinging it around. And like you said, John, accidentally hit the other one in the face. And he said at that point, the one that got hit slowly turned its neck and looked at the other one and gave him the look, kind of saying, "You got to be kidding me, dude. You just wait till we get home. Your ass is mine." So yeah, that I know exactly the story you're referring to, and I did interview the guy a couple of years back.
That was a great story. That
very credible. Yeah, it was. That's definitely a legit story, and his description of these things was right on the money.
Pretty typical behavior for even a human being, you know.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely.
You know what? I got a question real fast.
Yeah.
Okay, the T structures like you've got. All right.
Yep.
Watching a video, we talked about it the other day. I was watching something on Netflix, one of that. All right. It was mentioned they're trying to communicate with us. Well, maybe they are, but we don't know how. We don't get it. Of course, they don't get it. It's all. I don't know if deaf sign when someone is deaf. Or, you know, I don't know if that's a universal sign language or not, but if it's not, all right, let's just for a second say it's not a universal sign language when you're, signing. Okay, so you've got, say, sign in French, you have sign in English, you have sign in Spanish, you have sign in Sasquatch that we can't read. You see what I'm getting at?
I do.
So maybe what they're doing is a type of communication, and we don't get it, and they're scratching their heads, and we're scratching ours.
We definitely don't get it. I mean, no matter which way you slice the dice, I don't think we really get why they do it. You know, as far as the legit stuff goes, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
Like you said, could be communication. Hey, go this way for the deer, go this way for the elk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe it's that type of thing. I don't know. I don't know why they do it.
That's what the leans are for. I think the leans are markers kind of directing them on which way to go for what.
Well, that would make sense.
Just
you know,
speculation.
It's of course all of the and that's what for you new to the field. That's one thing that we really got to stress here. Everything the four of us are saying right now is total speculation. You know, unless like we were saying, you have forensic evidence there with it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, like Shawn, good point. As far as the leans, yeah, man. I mean, that would make sense, you know, if these different groups actually try to help each other out, for example, okay, they'll leave something leaned one way for when the next group passes through. Hey, go this way for the elk, go this way for the deer, and so on and so forth. So that's a good point. That's a good point, yeah. As far as the leans go, maybe it's like you said, it's all speculation. We don't know. But,
it could be just in the family group too. Like
could be
maybe Papa, the kids are 100 yards off the other way, and he wants to go over here and chase some deer. He's going to bust a lean up so they know which way he went.
Yeah, that's true too. And again, I think
it's all guesswork.
It's all speculation. Knows. You know, and I think a lot of the when they'll push a tree over. I think, you look at all primates. Primates tend to, gorillas do it. I mean, the silverbacks will do it for kind of showing that they're the man. You know what I mean? It's to other males. So,
it's a show of strength.
Exactly. And let's face it.
Me, I'm the biggest, baddest dude on the block.
Well, think of another primate that does that. Human beings. You know. Yeah. Who's got the biggest set? Let's face it. I mean, human men do it too.
Cage fighters, especially those guys.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
If human beings do that sort of thing, I mean, as well as I do, Jerimiah. Like guys that'll get a workout. Okay. You'll look at yourself in the mirror, I mean, checking yourself out to see, oh, hey, how's this muscle doing that? Or you'll do something stupid, right? And you'll hit yourself in the head, and you're off by yourself doing that, So it's like, you just gotta think about, I wonder if that doesn't happen in Sasquatch life too. Like one of them's like, I'm going to press this 500-pound rock, and he drops it on his head,
Why not?
And how stupid could he feel?
Without a doubt. I mean, it does make you wonder if it goes on in our world.
It's gotta. Yeah.
It's gotta happen in theirs,
Sorry about being a little crazy there, but
no. Come on now, that's what we do. No, that's a good point, man. I mean, I took a lot of it with these, when it comes to these big males doing this kind of thing, like especially when you hear about the rock throwing, I think a lot of that has to do with when they get pissed off over certain things or whatever. I know a guy from Ontario. A matter of fact, I sent each one of you an interview I did with him that I did openly, and I did it in a coffee shop on the reservation. He agreed to let me post it as a show, but afterwards he got thinking about it, being very traditional. He said, I would appreciate it if you didn't make that public. Well, he told me a story about it was somewhere in northern Ontario, okay, and it was on a reservation, they were doing a kayak race, and they were coming around a bend on the river, and all of a sudden the guy behind, there was a kayak here, and you got one behind it. This thing comes out of nowhere, or they were canoes, excuse me, not kayaks, but boulder with a backspin, mind you, okay? The guy behind this guy actually sees this friggin' thing throw this rock. Okay, no, I shouldn't say rock, boulder, I'll say. Threw it at the kayak, and the canoe in front of him, landed in the middle of it, in between these two guys, and actually bent the two ends of the canoe right up. Now, mind you, that to me is saying I'm pissed off. I don't want you around. If that makes sense. To me, stuff like that's completely, to me, is showing that they're clearly pissed off about you being there.
That, or there could have been two of them standing up there, and one of them looked at the other and says, "Hey, watch this.
Watch what I can do." Yeah, I mean which brings us back to the whole point. If we do it, why not them? But he said,
I would do that.
Well, yeah, I can see us doing it, Jay. Yeah, I can see us doing it.
I could see you. I can see him doing it. Yep.
Without a doubt. But,
I'm envious.
They kind of
coming down.
What's that?
Me terrorizing some of those poor hippie guys come down the river.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd have you do that.
When I head out there in February, there's an idea for us right there, man.
Yeah.
But they gave this guy grief. I mean, the explanation was, when they talked about this event, was that it rolled off the hill. Well, the friggin' boulder had a backspin to it. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So it was launched on top of this guy watching this thing do it. People still that didn't see the event happen, it must have rolled. And
yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It rolled, and it rolled 30 feet forward. When it fell off the cliff, it seemed, it's just ridiculous. Even after people witnessed it happen, you still have your haters.
Except those missing people that David Pilatus is looking for, they usually do it.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean,
rationalization, and that rationalization takes over, and sometimes rationalization is filled full of holes.
Oh, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, I think you got to have a little bit of skepticism. As a researcher, I think it's our duty. You got to, before you try to prove that it was a Sasquatch, well, let's try to prove that it wasn't first.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Right. Eliminate everything else first. That is very, in my opinion, that's very important.
Honestly, guys, that's why I seem to be the skeptic that I am. I'm not
Well,
I'm not really a skeptic. I know I saw something.
Yes.
I can't, and in my mind, I'm still trying to rationalize what it was that I saw. I saw something, but I've got to be thinking and eliminate everything in that box before I step out. So I apologize to the public if they think that I'm trying to be a skeptic and shoot everything down, but you've got to,
You've got to be. You got to be, unless you like, Shawn and I, unless you see these things from as close as we have. I mean, you gotta be a skeptic a little bit, But
I was skeptical right up until I saw that thing.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't change your world, didn't it?
Flipped it upside down. Everything's
flips it upside down. Everything you believe. Yeah.
I hope I just remain a skeptic and don't see one.
If I right, because they aren't pretty to look at. That's for sure. It's
oh man, they're scary.
Well,
seeing I've ever seen.
Yeah, seeing the Minnesota Iceman was actually enough for me at the time, but I looked at it as though it was, that's a cheap a sideshow trick, until I started reading about it later on.
Read Will's book. Read the Iceman.
I've got and if Will is listening, please, I would accept a copy of that autographed copy of that book in a heartbeat.
Oh, I've got one. Matter of fact, let me
look at this.
I'm gonna rub it in a little, John.
Yeah. Put my nose in. Rub my nose.
Here we go.
Something. Yeah. My nose in something that I can never have. Yeah.
Yeah. Right there. No, that was Will was definitely kind enough to send me that a couple of years ago. What's that, Jay?
It just cost you $55 is all.
Oh, yeah. I've got one here autographed by Jeff Muldrum, if that makes any difference.
Which one's that? It's the field work?
Sasquatch Legend Meets Science.
Oh yeah, I read that book.
I went in and I bought it, and he just picked it up and autographed it at $225.17.
There you go.
I've still got to read it though. I really do. It looks like a very interesting book.
Pretty good read.
Yeah, any of them are, it's like information.
Right.
Is knowledge.
It is.
And that in itself it's truth. It'll get rid of fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a diagnosis. If you know it's diagnosed, you don't have to be afraid of it. Then you take care of it, So it's the same thing. Knowledge will set you free, man.
So. Yeah, I mean, but then again, sometimes. No, go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
All right, I was just running my hole as usual. But what happened to?
Go for
it.
What
happened to? You know what hurt you?
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
You're good.
You're good, dude.
How do you follow that?
But like I was gonna say, sometimes, as Shawn, you well know, and JR, from being with your experience with that bluff charge. I mean, sometimes when you do gain the knowledge, sometimes it won't set you free. It'll just set you on a damn obsession for more answers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, scared anyway. It's like the first time I went flying. Like the first time I went flying on an airplane, I heard that you're supposed to drink. So I drank about down to 6-pack. My mother got me off, and I down to 6-pack. This has been like 15 years ago. So then I down to 6-pack, and I got on the airplane, and I was drunk and scared. So
yeah.
Same thing with Sasquatch. Like I'm scared of them. Like maybe that's why I like it, because I'm not scared of shit.
Yeah.
Same here.
That's freaking great. But yeah, I mean,
go from being the biggest, baddest thing in the woods to being a rabbit real fast.
That's right.
That's right, man.
And that's one thing I think all four of us can agree on. And without, I was going to say, without a weapon, but even with a weapon, if these things want you bad enough, man, they're so stealthy and so sleek, and it's you're still at the bottom of the chain. So that's a fact. That's gospel to me. You like you said, Shawn. Once you're in there, and they know you're there. The second you walk into an active area, they know you're there.
Not unless you're a Texas Ranger like TW is.
Oh yeah. He just runs right into him to knock him over. From what I've heard, the man.
He's a bad dude, man.
Yeah.
He was just born that way.
Can't wait to meet him.
Yeah, man. Every night before Nurse goes to bed, he checks under his bed for T.W. Young.
That's right.
Paper bags. But yeah, that's I think those are some pretty good points, man. Now, something else I wanted to get into. I know we don't have much time left, but why don't we mention John? Let's mention that big turd. Oh boy! All right, okay. Got a photograph one time. And a Sasquatch
did it.
Yeah. Now, I with all due respect, okay, I got a photograph one time, and it was supposed to be a turd from a Sasquatch. I was told that it was like 18 inches long, as big around as a Louisville Slugger. Now
I was just gonna say something, but I'm gonna stay away from it because it was a little too much. But anyway, keep going.
So big you can't even pee.
Yeah. Well, it was laying. Now Jerimiah saw this. He's seen the picture. It was laying on a log. All right. However, this log was and I know a little bit about trees, not a whole lot, but enough to get myself in trouble when I'm around a forester.
Right.
But this log was a down beech tree. Now, a beech tree, the bark gets about 3/8 of an inch thickest on a normal beech tree.
Right.
All right. So I had a scale of 3/8 of an inch to go from. This beautiful 18-inch dropping was probably laying, what would you say, about 12? It looked like 12 inches from where the bark was showing. Would you say that, Jeremiah?
I've got it right here, actually. Let me double check it. But yeah, I think you're about right.
Okay. Now, you also had baling wire. It looked like baling wire around the tree,
something.
Right? So you're talking wire that's 1/8 of an inch in diameter, or maybe 3/16 if it was fence wire.
Oh, right. Kind of lost you for a second, John.
Okay, the wire, baling wire. It generally about 1/8 of an inch or less. Fence wire is like 3/16.
Are you talking like baling twine?
Wire. They used to.
Wire. Okay.
You can get hay bales in wire or in twine, but baling wire is roughly a little less than an inch, right? Now, if it was fence wire, it'd be about 1/8 to 3/16.
I would think
1/8 to 3/16. Okay, so you see that in there, all right?
Yeah.
And then you see the dried beech leaves, which they get to be sometimes about 3 inches long, an inch wide, maybe. You scale all that to it, and then you look at what is in this beautiful dropping.
What kind of a draw there, John? Would you say?
Okay, if I blew it up and I was trying to see what the texture or surface of this dropping was, this 18-inch long fragrant piece of Bigfoot turd.
Okay.
All right, and when I started comparing all those dimensions up, and I got to looking at what appeared to be either large kernels of corn or very large soybeans that would have had to have been soybeans about a half-inch long, or corn nearly a half-inch. And the only thing I'm
actually showing it. I'm showing it right now, John.
Okay.
I'm actually showing it to
there you
everybody.
Go. All righty. Okay. How about a raccoon or a possum?
Yeah, continue. I apologize.
Yeah, a raccoon or a possum, because there's really nothing to scale that to. Yeah. And I mean,
there's not.
God bless the guy that sent that to me. And it's not going to go public. but it's just there's not enough there, and that looks to me to be a weathered raccoon turd. I'm sorry, or a possum turd.
I thought it was supposed to be.
A Bigfoot, any Bigfoot, self-respecting Bigfoot would be carrying toilet paper, and he would put his hips against the back of the log and crap on the ground, right?
But
at least wipe with a maple.
That's the truth, man.
Yeah.
I mean, but in all reality, let's face it. Why, like you said, John, why would it choose to
straddle a log
to take a dump and that? Right, to straddle a log and drop a load right there. Yeah, personally, if I was a Sasquatch, I would lean against the tree and do it, as I have many times in the woods before, as it is.
Oh, yeah. Pick a tree with the biggest leaves to yeah.
Well, not even if you're wiping. Even no, I'm just joking. But anyway,
if you're a 9-foot Sasquatch,
yeah,
where does the Sasquatch go to the bathroom? Anywhere he wants to.
Yeah.
Well, that's true too.
I have an experiment. I think we should all do this. We get a mirror.
Oh boy.
All right, we get a mirror, a great big mirror, and we get a game camera, and we get rolls of Charmin, and we just put them out in the woods and see if you can.
No, that's a good way to piss them off, because with Charmin, you get the roly-polies back there. If you use Charmin, it peels off.
Well, they'll probably get pissed off if we don't bring more Charmin.
The Charmin is typical, like you usually get the roly-polies in your ass if you use Charmin.
I thought those were Klingons. Oh no, wait, that's
Dingleberries.
Yes, that's the one.
There's a video that I'll send you guys a little bit later on. It's a guy who it's a guy. He's actually from my town. I won't share his name on here, but anyway.
Right.
Give us his initials. Come on, please.
I'll show it to you. But anyway, he was talking about like there's a video. He's like, yeah. There's these are shit wipings on the trees. These are shit wipings. He's like touching it. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, taste it.
It stinks. And that's it's like they wipe their ass on a tree. I don't know.
That sounds like that Cheech and Chong thing where they come across the dog crap, and he's like, smell. No, man. And he's like, taste it. No, it's dog crap. And he's like, well, good thing we didn't step in it,
That's a set of movies I haven't heard of in a long time. The Cheech and Chong movies.
Oh, yeah.
Good Lord.
That shows you how old I am. Yeah, there you go.
But Jay, but say it now. As far as the wipings on the tree, now, was this a one-time occurrence that he sees, or does he see this often?
I don't know. But it seems like there were some pretty legitimate stick structures in the video, and it was local around here.
Right.
I tried to ask the guy. I knew him, but he turned out he's actually a local plumber. But anyway.
Okay. Ironic.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, he actually turned out like the stick structures look pretty good.
Right.
I've talked to him a couple times on the phone. I don't think I've ever met him, but like his video, I mean, like the structures look legit. Mm-hmm. But he's got a couple more videos out there. I'll hook you up with those. But he was like, yeah, those are shit wipings. Jesus. Then he like touches it. He's like, Jesus, that's stink.
God.
Well, a plumber ought to know, right?
Well, yeah, it's definitely gonna sting. That's for sure. So, so you're saying it's his theory is that
they use a tree.
Against the tree.
Okay, I got you.
Well, if it looks like it, and it smells like it, and it sounds like it, it's probably a duck.
Well, they're right. If it walks like one, sometimes a duck's a duck, man. Yeah, I mean, who the hell knows? Have you guys read actually in John Green's book? John, I was telling you about this the other day. The Apes Among Us. There's actually a report.
Yeah.
Of a witness watching one of these things take a dump or defecate. Let me be professional. In the water.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that, Jer? Yeah, where it was a female actually. She squats alongside the bank, if I'm correct, or was it a log? She squatted on or something. But either way, it went into the water and washed it away.
seems like I heard that a couple times, and
yeah,
a couple. It sounds reasonable.
To me, it does. That sounds very reasonable that they would do that.
Meanwhile, iguanas like to go in the water, but what the hell's an iguana doing? Whatever.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you got some survivalists down river there,
trying to get
building a brush hut, pulling water out, and doing a teepee structure so he can sleep the night.
I know, man. My family doesn't believe in Sasquatch. I was raised here in the mountains of North Carolina, like old backwoods, old hillbillies, old creek rock.
Yeah.
And I've drunk old Branks water my whole life, and that kind of, whenever I heard that, I was like, maybe I ought not to lean down and get a drink out of Branks no more. I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just thinking about that big Sasquatch turd rolling downstream.
Yeah, man.
We've already blown it, so defecate. Just forget that word, man. That's
that ship has sailed. I don't know why I even tried to correct myself on that one.
I think the proper using the podcast are scat.
Thank you, scat. Yes, scat or fecal matter.
Scat.
Yes, there we go.
Okay. From now on.
Okay. So now, thank you for correcting me. I will use scat from now on.
Now, whenever you collect the scat, you got to use like a Ziploc bag and tweezers. And tell me, man, I'm going to leave it there. A pile of shit.
How do you not, like keeping it, freezing it? You'd have to get that right away to a clinic. And
we talked about that, John. You missed it. Our last episode of Israel. He talked about how to go about that.
Yeah.
He said, as far as scat goes, right, JR? That's the term we're using now, scat. Anyway, yeah. But he was saying, our forensics guy, for those of you that are unfamiliar, we've got a good friend that's been helping us out for forensic. You can definitely call this guy an expert in his field.
Yes.
For formal education in forensics. Anyway, he's been through some processes with us, casting and whatnot, but we brought up subjects of fecal matter, scat, the other day, and he said there's different ways actually of going about it, because I had heard that it should be flipped upside down and the sample taken off the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where most of the DNA is. But he said, personally, from his training, they have been taught to bag the whole thing.
So you could you could carry a spatula with you.
Well, yeah, or just grab it with your bare hands, like I prefer to do.
We don't have to use scat. We could call it scaredy cat for those people.
Right.
I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to leave it there, man. That's.
Yeah. But yeah, he said, correct me if I'm wrong, but he did say they've been trained to take the whole sample, right? And send it out right away.
I heard.
Didn't Demo give us a video one time where he used chopsticks to like harvest it? Didn't Don show us a video one time where he used chopsticks to harvest up some turds?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know if they were they turds or.
Dude, I don't know what the hell. It was.
Were they shit or was it something else? I don't remember. I think it was turds. Yeah,
yes, it was. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Did he ever give us a picture of that of what he called in his Boston accent out there on that rock? He's like that big old turd out there. Did he ever take a picture of that big old turd on that rock in front of his house?
I can't recall to be honest with you, but I believe that it was chopsticks or something he used. But I mean, personally, my health shit. I mean, you're already in the woods, you're already dirty, man. Just grab it with your hand and stick it in a bag. That's my opinion.
And then blow your nose, right?
And then blow your nose, wipe your mouth off, whatever. No, but in all seriousness, he did say, correct me if I'm wrong, but JR, it was you, myself, and Shawn, I believe, right? The other day.
Yeah, he said,
he said grab the whole, make sure you take the whole sample.
I heard the
whole pile. And I got a funny story, John, that I was telling these guys. Will was telling me one time that he found what he thought was a pile of Sasquatch scat, and He took the whole thing, put it in a box, bagged it, put it in a box, and there's a roadblock. They were looking for somebody that supposedly was carrying narcotics or something on the run. And the cop says, "Hey, what do you got in the back there in the box?" And he says, "Well, you want me to be honest, or you want me to stretch the truth?" And the cop says, "Well, I obviously would like you to be honest." He says, "Well, to be honest with you, it's a box of Sasquatch cat." So, what do you think was going through that cop's mind?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Goodbye.
Have a good day. Have a good day. Exactly.
Just get out of the truck.
Or get out of the truck and spread them.
Yeah. Just get out of the truck.
Yeah, but to me that's funny, man. I can just imagine. I can just see it in my head. Telling a cop, it's actually Sasquatch scat. I wonder
what TW would do if he found a box of Sasquatch shat.
What's that?
I wonder what TW would do if he pulled somebody over and found some Sasquatch shat.
That's a good question. We can always ask him, and I'm sure he'll be honest with us.
Yeah, he will.
I'm going to text him right after the show.
Yeah, ask him what he would do personally. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of a disclaimer we're going to use tonight.
Well, you know what, John? I think that ship has sailed. So, I unfortunately will have to take full responsibility. So, I love you all, and I'll take the fall. So, don't worry about it.
You had the picture.
I did. So I'll take the fall for that one.
TW was probably collected in his cowboy hat.
right in the center. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, unfortunately, that ship is fucking. Well, yeah, I can't. They just said that on the air. I apologize.
I do that all the time.
Pretended to get a little out of control tonight, guys. I apologize for that one for our viewers. But we're just we always say you got to have a little bit of fun in this field, because if you don't, it's going to drive you crazy. And in all seriousness, that's a fact. Matter of TW and I, I know he and I tend to get a little out of hand sometimes. But he's always told me, and along with everyone else that I've met over the years, we've all talked about it. You got to have fun with this once in a while, or it becomes such an obsession. We all know that it becomes such an obsession. It drives you crazy.
This is how what you're hearing. I think is four guys that have touched the fringes of being burned out, bouncing right back into the center again, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, man. The passion has been rekindled. That's right.
Yeah. That's true, man.
I definitely know. In all seriousness, it definitely has. I mean, actually, pretty good mood. Back ready for business.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things too. I don't know how much time we got, but we got
about 5 minutes.
Well, I get burned out on this. I know you get burned out on it.
Yeah, I know we all do. It happens.
It's been 40 some odd years for me, and all I have seen has been tracks, wood knocking, a face, the Iceman, the Minnesota Iceman, and a few noises and a few things that I can't describe. They're explained.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm sure it's the same with you.
Well, I've had my encounters, but it all depends on what kind of area you're in and where you are. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It just depends. It's so random with these things. You know what I mean? It's very random.
That's John, what makes me wonder when you get somebody that goes out every
time and has activity.
Weekend,
has
activity.
Yes. I love those. I love those types. Every time they go out, man, they see one or they find something.
Makes me go,
What's that, Jay?
We got some activity on thermal this weekend. We also set out a fresh pizza for Bigfoot to see if he would come get it.
Right. It's that now. You know what I mean? I mean, you're not gonna. I don't care what anyone says or what kind of an active area you're in. You could be in the most active area in the world, and I don't care. You're not gonna get activity every time you go out. And that's all there is to it. And I'm sure you guys will agree on that. I mean,
it's like muskie fishing. It's a fish at 10,000 casts.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's what?
It's like muskie fishing. It's a fish of 10,000 casts because you'll never catch one, like hardly ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. But then you got that one guy out there in a belly boat using a little rod with 6-pound test, his second cast ever, and he pulls one in.
Yep.
I
personally, I've never caught one personally. We see a lot of we on the reservation up where I'm from in the Adirondacks. We've got a lot of muskie, but they're still very hard to catch. You don't catch a lot.
The state record holder in Colorado, that's how he did it. That's the only reason I brought that up. And I'd been fishing that lake for so many years.
Yep.
Sean
never caught one.
He probably caught a crawler or something too.
Yeah.
What's that, Jay?
He probably caught it on a night crawler or something too.
No. It was a chartreuse rooster tail. Is what
That's
it was.
That's a good lure, though. That's a good lure. It was chartreuse.
Yeah, he was trout fishing, and he pulled in a muskie.
I've actually caught a lot of pike with that particular lure, actually. Yeah. So I guess it does make sense, they're related, But I personally have never caught a muskie or a tiger muskie, which is what I think it's the cross between the two, right?
Yes.
We get a lot of them. We have a lot of them up in the Adirondacks, a lot of the tiger muskies, and they get pretty big too. But yeah, I'd like to catch one. I mean, just for the experience, but I've never caught one.
Sean, I got
Sasquatch.
What's that?
I got to ask. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just saying, I think I'd rather see a Sasquatch. I got burned out on that years ago. I could beat the hell out of the water with a rod, man.
Okay, how many groups of guys that run a show can go from structures to taking a dump on a log, then the muskies, and then everything in between? That's what I love about this little unique group we have here.
Yeah, I gotta ask Shawn, where in Colorado did you live, man? I lived there too.
Oh, I lived all over the place. I grew up in Arvada and North Denver, Arvada, North Glen, Thornton, Westminster. I lived all over Colorado. The Denver metro area is basically it.
I lived in Aurora, and I lived up Green Mountain Fall, in old Colorado City.
If you lived in Aurora, down on Quincy Reservoir is where the state record was caught, and I used to have a membership to that lake.
What's the record there?
Oh Christ! It was like a 50-incher, 50-something. No, it was bigger than that. It was bigger than that.
I know. Out of the St. Lawrence, I think the record in the St. Lawrence, where I'm from, is like 56, something like that.
Yeah, it was bigger than that. It's got to be 40 to keep. I know that, and this thing was well over that. So I can't remember. I'd have to look it up, and it may have been beaten by now. I haven't been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Well,
guys, it was a good.
Wishing. Go ahead.
What's that, Shawn? No. I was just gonna say, I hope regardless of the joking, I know we joke around a lot, guys, but I think we pretty much always accomplish what we set out to do. I think we do get a lot of good info out there, and I hope for all you listening, we didn't offend anyone tonight by anything we said. That's definitely not our intention. Like John said, it's just for old burned out researchers with the rekindled passion. It's kind of reignited the couple things that have been going on to relit the fire. So yeah, I hope we didn't offend anybody, and I hope we at least got something out there that everyone can work with a little bit. But yeah, that's going to be it for this show tonight, guys. So hopefully we'll see y'all next week. And like I said before, if anyone out there has a topic they want covered, feel free to contact one of us, and we'll cover it for you. We have no problem with that whatsoever. None of us have a problem answering questions. I know we're all reachable. You can get me at onthetrail.jf@gmail.com. So what's your email address?
Yeah, it's new. It's Indiana JRGJS at gmail.com.
And I do have a couple of them on top of my on the trail. I still have my JRG address. That's jrg.executive.dirjf@gmail.com. And Shawn, I know you have a couple too. You want to throw them out there?
Nebraska JRG at Gmail, and my Yahoo one. I don't even know what it is.
On the trail.sw@yahoo.com.
Bingo, there it is.
Yep. And how about you, Jarrett? How can you assist people in their Sasquatch needs? How can they get a hold of you?
Oh, dude. I can assist anybody in their Sasquatch needs in any way possible, in any way that they could ever dream.
There you
go.
Some.
Anyway, I'm at jrjk@aol.com. I'm not special enough to have an on the trail one yet. So,
excuse me, sir. On the contrary, if you go back and look at your messages, I have asked you several times for your date of birth, so I could create one for you.
I told you.
Where's mine?
Well, John, you know what? I'm tired of making email addresses for you because I've probably done 6 of them for you.
They're too you know what?
You did.
Yeah, John Switzer at Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yes.
But yes, Mr. Kitchen, I have asked you for your date of birth several times, and I actually do have one set up for you. I have finished the account, and it's the same as mine and Shawn's. It's on the trail .jk at Yahoo at gmail.com. Ours are Gmail, Shawn's is Yahoo.
Are you sure?
I am positive. Frick. Oh God, I love it. Quite the friggin' group. Anyway, guys, like I said, I hope we got something out there to everyone tonight, and we appreciate everyone tuning in. I should have this posted tomorrow. We got a new editor that works alongside with JR's wife, Audra. He'll clean up any background draw we have in the show tonight. So everything's coming together, and thanks everyone for joining us with this edition of the Roundtable. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, dudes. Thanks, John.
Good night, fellas.
Appreciate it.
That's all, folks.
That would be all. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.